When you get to the end of writing your memoir manuscript, you're going to want to go through or hire somebody to go through and do some editing. Uh, People often say, well, editing is just to make it better. Well, of course, to make the writing better. We have to remember the point of editing is to make it easier for the reader to understand you. We want to open up our writing to as many people as possible. So it's important if we want to engage with as many readers as possible, we want to make the writing accessible to all. We often think of accessibility in terms of physical accessibility to buildings, to places, and we want to have ramps and ways that people can get in the building. But we have to forget that writing, if we want to have a large audience for our writing, has to be accessible to as many people as possible. So when you do get that manuscript near the end, and you want to start doing some editing, here's an example of the kind of editing that makes a piece of writing more accessible. Here's a paragraph from one of my memoir students. A simple paragraph. It's not badly written. This isn't, worst case scenario here. It's actually really good. And often I like doing this kind of editing on good writing because I already feel inspired by what the student has written. And now I want to just take it to the next level, and make it a little bit easier to read, a little bit more focused. So I'm just going to edit this live while we're on the video here. So everyone was out on the street. How about we get a strong verb in there? Everyone stood out on the street, loudly conversing in Hebrew, splashing buckets of water on the sidewalk. The roads were filled with cars. We could change that too. Why not get more active with those cars? Cars filled the roads. Now, she writes the smell of fresh fruit juices from the juice bar on the corner of the street. We need to get someone doing that smelling, right? I smelled the fresh fruit juices from the juice bar on the corner of the street. And then we could say, who's doing the selling here? Just make it an active sentence. Vendors sold figs and almonds. And we get this what I call a dead verb, were, out of here. Now, this isn't just a descriptive paragraph. There's also some characters in it, and she is following another person. So she writes, the distance between us grew and grew, but I managed to keep her in sight despite the large group of people between us. This feels a little heavy here, large group of people. So we could say, the crowd between us here. So let me read this over. It's a little tighter, a little bit more focused, and it's just easier on the reader. Everyone stood out in the street, loudly conversing in Hebrew, splashing buckets of water on the sidewalk. Cars filled the roads. I smelled the fresh fruit juices from the juice bar on the corner of the street. Vendors sold figs and almonds on street corners. The distance between us grew and grew, but I managed to keep her in sight despite the crowd between us. So you can go back in the video, you can pause it on the original, and you can see, I think, that is greatly improved in this final version. There's no unnecessary words, it's more focused, and the reader will appreciate that.